was the point proving about talking about data. Like data can be always questioned, and it can be
point out these factors that these states are just next to one of the most highly industrialized and growing states, and these to also point out these states are the ones which are getting investment from outside. Kerala is not attracting investment in its industry.
like there is a narrative, right? And it is somewhat like true also that southern state have contributed more. The growth is more visible on ground compared to north or northeast or eastern states.
Kerala does have service sector. The 64% service sector of Kerala actually it combines the data of remittance as service sector. That 64% is not entirely the tourism data. So what is happening is the high amount of remittance that is happening to Kerala as a state is being added to the GDP, and that's why we see that kind of growth. The high growth. So what was happening is when Dubai and the Gulf states were growing, they're growing at a very fast pace. Accordingly, remittance was also growing to Kerala, which led to the growth you see there of the Kerala GDP. If you find out, both the states are slowing down. Why both the states are slowing down? The agri output of Punjab is slowing down, one, and remittance to Kerala is slowing down, which gives you an insight that Kerala's economy is very highly dependent on how the economy does in Gulf, and the Gulf's economy is very dependent on the oil prices, and oil prices is very dependent on how overall the economy is. So Kerala's economy is very outwardly dependent, and it depends on what kind of jobs are available outside and how they are managing themselves. Number one. There is other factor also. So I wanted to point out the unemployment data. If you look at 1993-94 to 2012, this is a big period for both the states. Kerala is the third highest unemployed rural and urban and female both, all the three. So this data is segregated into three segments. One is rural unemployment, the other is urban unemployment, and the third is overall. And female is also there. Kerala is only behind Lakshadweep and Goa. These two are very small states, and sometimes Tripura comes in. But the unemployment per thousand is one of the highest in India, and that has been for the last 25 years. If you look at rural unemployment, very high, urban unemployment, very high. Now, there may be some local level or some socio-economic factor there, but if we have to look at the growth of an economy of a area, it cannot be with such high unemployment. So there something is happening in Kerala, which is very, very interesting, that such high unemployment, but still your GDP is growing. So you are adding that remittance which is coming from outside to India and showing growth. उसमें एक और फैक्टर है.
I'd like to interrupt here. Talking about foreign remittance, you are telling that this is being added to the service sector. Yeah.
Yes,
the same thing is happening to Punjab also. That
yes,
GDP can be only 100%. It cannot go beyond 100%. So you can calculate 11% plus 25% plus 64% is going to 100%. Similarly, in Punjab, it is also going to 100%. It cannot go beyond 100% anyways. So anyway, we have to add that remittance. Either you cannot add in agriculture, you cannot add in industry. You have to add in service sector only. So that's why
no one is denying that Punjab doesn't have. So there are three states which has highest remittance.
So when you are comparing both, you tell about that also, that even Punjab is having same situation.
Punjab has the same situation. We have already talked about it. The Punjab, Tamil Nadu and Kerala are three of the highest remittance states. The interesting factor which I am trying to point out is that Kerala has highest unemployment. What I am trying to say here is that there is something very interesting going on. Hold on, you will have your time to explain. I am trying to put the facts.
We should make it interactive session.
So it will be a, if you keep on interrupting me, and then I will keep on interrupting you, then the point will not be clear to our viewers.
No, we have to clear. We have to clear it. We have to clear it one by one. We have to clear it. Like you talked about remittance.
Yes. Hold on. That is why I was writing down the points. When you were talking, I never pointed out something. So I was writing down the points. You also write down the points, and then you can actually come back to all the points and explain it. Agreed, or we will go?
No, you continue. Please continue.
Okay.
Please continue. Actually, I was not writing that time, so I thought that this is the right time to tell.
Sure.
Actually, the people who will watch our video in YouTube, they would like it. That immediately they will get some counter.
No, but the problem is you lose trail of thought. When you are interrupted, you lose the trail of thought, and then maybe you are concluding with something, and you just couldn't make the point.
It will go into
no issue. No issue. That from that point you can cut it. I'll tell it later.
No, it's not an issue. So what I was saying is that unemployment is one of the highest in this state, despite the growth. There are factors for growth, what I was trying to tell. So remittance is added to their growth overall. Now what is happening is when there was a growth in this, the area that Kerala has remittance from, you saw the growth in GDP as well. Now there is a decline in GDP growth because there is a decline in remittance. Unemployment we have talked about. This is a very interesting point. If someone can explain why this is happening, because this is a socio-economic factor, and on the ground something happens or some cultural factors are there because of which we are seeing this. Now overall, the country, if you look at the country overall, the 5 most industrialized states are Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Karnataka, and Haryana. Both these states are not that industrialized, because of which they are dependent on external factors. Punjab has its problem. Punjab is a border state and it is a landlocked state, despite which it grew in agriculture. But what happened is later on, there was a high level of migration from the state. High level of migration meant there was a flight of capital as well. So people took their capital and went to Canada and settled there. So you did not have a very high rate of investment in factories in Punjab, and there was investment in and around Delhi also. So a lot of industry and factory of Punjab went to Haryana and Delhi. So there was a decline in Punjab as well. We can see that. Kerala, whereas, doesn't invest as much in any industry. It is a matter of fact that there are very few industries in Kerala. Kerala doesn't have any automobile sector manufacturing. Kerala doesn't have any leather, textile, or biotech. Kerala is very highly dependent on its export of labor, its export of agri-goods, and third, inward remittance and the income from the tourism as well. So tourism is a big factor, but so I have made my point here regarding the economic factors. Prashantji, if you could make your point regarding the socio-economic factors and unemployment and the dependence of both these two states on external factors rather than investment in the state. Over to you.
You told about unemployment. Then you pointed out about this foreign remittance. Thereafter, what one more thing was there? Industry. So first thing, unemployment. The unemployment data you have not provided. Just sorry, do you have the data?
Sorry? Yeah. Sorry.
Do you have the data?
So the data, out of per 1,000, rural female unemployment data is 142 females are unemployed out of 1,000, and male rural are around 55 to 30 are unemployed out of 1,000, which is the third highest in this country. Overall, out of 1,000, 68 are unemployed. So this data is only comparable to Lakshadweep, Goa, and Tripura. Any parameter of this data, you can, the viewers, and you can also go
Data
to.
is of which year? Which year data is this?
This is from 93, 92 to 2012, three to 4 decades. So this is the
Okay.
consistent data.
So I came here in 2012 only.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I have been watching closely about this male and female ratio in the job sector.
Mm-hmm.
So wherever I go, I see that almost equal number of female populations are working here. This is the ground level reality. If someone will compile fresh data, so this anomaly will definitely will be changed, because you are talking about 92, 93 to 2012, but after 2012 it has changed drastically. You may also come here and you will see, if you visit more places, you will see the male and female ratio in any working environment, any working offices, any sector. So actually the data has not been compiled. I am talking with my experience only. So this has definitely been changed in Kerala.
Could you point out some sectors, like where you are saying some private sector or government sector, PSUs? Could you point us out?
See, government sector is a totally different scenario. Is having totally, I'd say, because in central government, in my offices also, there are very few female officers. Very few. So that depends on so many things. Staff Selection Commission is conducting exam every year. So much competition is there. So, but in state government offices, and in private sector, like I work at airport, I see more female than male. They are working there. More than male, females are there.
Okay.
So this scenario has definitely been changed, but I don't have the data. As soon as I get, I'll come. We will come back and we can discuss about this. Secondly, the unemployment. I agree with you. The unemployment percentage is 11.4% according to 2017-18 data in Kerala. 11.4%. Whereas in Punjab, it is 7.8% during the same year, 2017-18. So there is a difference of almost 3.2% in unemployment. But you can say the population of Punjab is 2.8 crore, whereas the population of Kerala is 3.48 crore. So population also plays a big part in unemployment. When you see the population of India and population of Bangladesh or Sri Lanka, more Indians are unemployed than Sri Lankan people. So this does have an impact, population, but that there is not. Anyway, I agree that Kerala lags behind Punjab in terms of unemployment. Secondly, foreign remittance, you talked about that Kerala is adding foreign remittance to its service sector, which is 64%. No doubt about that. They have to add here foreign remittance. In foreign remittance, they have to add the service sector because they cannot add in agriculture and industry. So it is 64%. Moreover, I would like to add in 2012 data. I am telling you, the total foreign remittance of India was $71 billion. $71 billion. Out of that, the Kerala remitted $11.3 billion. That is nearly 10% of total foreign currency remittance. We can talk about the benefits of this currency foreign remittance later. Every country needs foreign currencies. So we will talk about the benefits later. This is very important part for Indian economy. So it accounts for almost 10% of India. Maybe Punjab is also having same, but there is a social economic difference between Kerala and Punjab. Punjab might not have this much higher foreign remittance because Punjabis are going to Canada and other countries with a sole motto of settling out there. They are going there and they are getting settled out there, and they are living there, they are earning there, they are spending there. They are not sending so much money like Kerala people. Like, see, Kerala people are going to Gulf countries mainly. Yeah, no doubt they are in US also, UK also, in every country they are, but mainly almost 1.6 million. See, in Gulf countries, almost 2.5 million Indian people lives. 2.5 million. From India, almost 25 lakhs people are living there, and out of those 25 lakhs, almost 16 lakhs people are from Kerala. They are going there only for earning, and whatever they earn, they send it, most of their earning, to India as a foreign remittance. So this is a huge difference between Kerala and Punjab. So one more important thing I'd like to tell you, that Kerala population is only 2.8% of India population, according to 2012 census. Only 2.8%. Whereas its economic contribution is 4% out of total GDP of India. Kerala contribution is 4%. So it is very easy to calculate that the per capita income of Kerala is 60% higher than the national average. So these are the few points I shared. Now over to you, Vishjit and Chandrakant.
Chandrakant, you would like to add?
I would like to add a couple of points. Like first, coming to this, the question of this jobless growth, which it's not only problem of Kerala, it's like a countrywide problem. But going back to Kerala specific, like what I understand is the structure. Like people are going outside, they're earning there and sending back the money to people living in Kerala. So maybe that might be one reason for people being jobless in Kerala. Like if one person is earning way better than anyone here, so maybe he is taking care of most of the family. And this has been structured mostly in Indian context, or say, you can say even in Asian context. So this has been there, and that can be reason of this jobless growth which we are seeing. Because when we come and talk about numbers and point out that number data from this to this, so we don't have a specific source. Like we cannot say that data can always be questioned, and it can be kept in perspective. Like if we can take a particular period and talk about the data, and particular period data can be like more promising than the other periods. If you consider longer period, data can vary. So these are things, like even if you compare, like growth rate of Bihar has been almost like 9%, 10%, somewhere now around this, like almost highest in the country for some years.
Highest is MP, it's around 15% for a long period of time.
Small base. For a particular time period, it was highest in country average. So what I'm trying to say is, if you don't see like till 2003, it didn't see any proper development. The growth was in negative. So when it is growing at that pace, like it will take, if growth happens, things will show on ground and the rate will anyway be high. So that was the point proving about talking about data. Like data can be always questioned and it can be like that. So not talking from data perspective, and now coming back to how the one thing was mentioned that people from Punjab are going and moving and settling there. That is very true. But the one point which I made earlier also, like how the remittance are coming back, that has been like remittance coming from outside, but it is not making much contribution as per my understanding. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. In Kerala, it is coming back, but it is getting transformed into static. I mean, it's not contributing in growth compared to Punjab. If immigrants from Punjab, if money is coming back to the state, it is being invested in either growth of that particular region in agriculture sector or whatever the kind of business they have. So that has been like a different, what I feel is difference between both two states. Apart from that, talking about this ratio of people, like when Prashant is talking about the ratio of female and male working in any industry, but he is talking from the his personal experience point of view, and I agree that if you are in South India, mostly you will see this. But this is mostly restricted to urban areas. When you move to rural areas, you will see a bit different picture. So that's all I think from my side for now.
Yeah, okay. Is Anurag back?
Yes, yes. I would like to add to this thing regarding the unemployment thing in the Kerala, either it is Kerala or Punjab.
Excuse me, Anurag, your camera, the back camera is on, I think.
Click on your pic, I think it will reverse.
Yeah, right. It's good.
Okay, no?
Correct.
Again, it's first regarding the increasing unemployment. Unemployment day by day will increase, because the thing is that now if you are not giving proper infrastructure for the employment within the country, either it is Kerala or Punjab, no longer other country people are going to accommodate you, as it is started in some Gulf countries right now. Because due to this corona thing also, everyone will first focus to get the employment at their place only. As an employer, now the scenario will change. Everyone will try to accommodate their local people there only. So this is going to increase. So either it is Kerala or Punjab, the government has to develop an infrastructure at their place so that the people can be accommodated there itself. They no need to as long as this unemployment problem is concerned. So it can be solved here only. Second thing is that what Chandrakant told, this employment, I will agree with him. This the female workers in urban and rural part of India, in few I'm not sure about this Kasaragod area of Kerala, but if you come to the Mangalore region, there are some part where the name of the child is added with the name of the mother, not with the father. Matriarchal society. It is like that. So if you come to the rural part, it will be added. Like they are given more important. You will see the woman worker working in fields, on the local shops, and everywhere their involvement are increasing. So in the urban part, either it is a security reason or whatever you say. But if you will say this government thing, there may be difference in the ratios. But if you come to the private sector, I think now the difference is not much more. First thing. Second thing is that they are coming out. Either it is you will see more number of females now as compared to few years back. So it will be increasing. So that's all from my side. Now you can, as I was not there in earlier discussion due to something, so I couldn't listen all the thing. So anyways, please continue.
It's okay. So at last, from my side, I would like to add one more thing, that I think is very important to talk about because we all have missed this. Talking about unemployment in Kerala and as well as in Punjab also, I'll talk about both. The data shows 11% unemployment in Kerala, 8% unemployment in Punjab. But here is an interesting thing. 16 lakhs people are in Gulf countries from Kerala. Similarly, more number of people are in Canada and US and from Punjab. Second most important thing, more than 10 lakhs people from Bihar, UP, West Bengal, they are working in Kerala. They are getting job in Kerala. Similarly, more than 5 lakhs people from Bihar, UP, Jharkhand, West Bengal are working in Punjab. So how can a state which is providing so much of employment for the people of other states, how come that state's data shows that this much unemployment is there?
Correct.
Okay.
I think can continue.
Then based upon the population of that particular state where you have registered yourself. Not like you are registered in Karnataka or working in Kerala. So you will be considered as employed in Karnataka, employed person of Karnataka, not of Kerala.
That is fine. But what he's telling is, what Prashant is mentioning is, like if it is providing jobs to migrant workers, how come its own population is jobless? Correct, right? I understood it correctly.
No, not its population. Some part of the population is definitely jobless, but this data I'm questioning is 11% data and 8% data of Punjab. Yeah.
Same data, like, see, being like we cannot. It's like not a comparison only pro Punjab or pro Kerala. I'm just talking on common facts, like what is the reason why migrant population is able to get a job in particular place. Like even in Karnataka, we see a migrant population getting job, but the local population is mostly jobless. They have different kind of jobs, but not the jobs which is available for migrant population. And the problem is there are a couple of jobs which local population hesitate to get into.
Correct.
If you see, most of the migrant population are working in construction sector or some similar kind of work they're doing, or some similar kind of.
It's called manual labor, where
this may be.
Yeah.
Sorry, you continue, please continue.
So to categorize it, it's called manual labor, where you personally go stand and spend your manually you spend the time on the ground working and then get paid for it. Which you're pointing very correctly. Maybe that even in Bihar there are people who will not work in Bihar but will go out and do this kind of job.
Yeah, correctly. That's the local problem.
It happens local person of everywhere. Like here, like in Kerala, Karnataka, people will not go and become guard for someone. But in Dubai, they can go and they will easily. That there are two things for that. First thing, that social factor that no, I am here. How can I do this thing? Second thing, it may be that for the given work, if a migrant labor who is in both the scenario, if he is coming from Bihar to Kerala or from Kerala to Dubai, he will be paid less amount for the same job as compared to the local person there. So and here what happens, so like construction labor, if you talk about in Jharkhand, Bihar, per day maximum he will be paid 300 rupees. If I'm not, I don't exact figure, I don't know, but 3-4 years back it was the thing, 275, 300 rupees. If a same labor come here and works in a rubber plantation or a construction site, he will be paid around 450 or 500 rupees. So first thing is that he is getting more. Second thing is that you can take whatever work you want, like you can ask him to do whatever the thing you want, and he will also do the same thing. But if you are employing a local person here, first of all, he will say, I have no, I will not do this job. People will see or something. Second thing, I want this much amount. This money is no, less for me. Second thing, I will not work from 10 to 5. I will only work from 10 to 5. Before 10, my house is there. One day they will come. I have to know today my some household work or something. So at a very base level, these all things matter. So basically, all these persons are coming and getting employed. The same thing happens if it is coming from Bihar or to Kerala or from Kerala to Dubai. The same
Rightly
factors
said,
will
Anurag.
be same.
Very
There
true.
are several factors.
Right. So to sum it up quickly, our discussion from economic factors went into the job market and job factors, which is very natural because it gives you an indication. And naturally, when we discuss these two states, it comes to migration. But what we are missing here is that very naturally, this discussion went into this migration and unemployment and joblessness. Now, had it been other states, let me point out, had it been Maharashtra, Gujarat, Karnataka, or something like that, if you would have been comparing, you would have started comparing their industrial might. The automotive sector, the diamond sector, the biotech, IT, aerospace. The neighboring state of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, which is just next to Kerala, pardon me, is one of the top 5 states in this country, industrially also, education sector also, and everything. Similarly, next to Punjab also, you have Haryana, Uttarakhand, Delhi, which come into the highest growth sectors. This is also very interesting, and maybe you both could, or you three could point out these factors, that these states are just next to one of the most highly industrialized and growing states. And these, to also point out, these states are the ones which are getting investment from outside. Kerala is not attracting investment in its industries, but these two states here and the northern states of Haryana and Delhi are getting very high investment, very high manufacturing. These are major power in this country. So what is happening with these two states? Since Prasanji is in Kerala, you could point out ground factors, what is happening. We could look into Punjab, what is happening. This is very important. To grow, you cannot depend on remittance, sorry to say, because this is not in your hand. So remittance for both the states is not in your hand. Once someone else decides to do something else, or the oil prices go down, both these states are in problem. So this is not a long-term solution. This is a short-term solution where you send your people out. True work. This is not an economic solution. Both Punjab and Kerala has these kind of problems, industrial problems, social problems, but both of them are not growing. Both of them have a low degree of industrialization and job creation. Their economies are going down. This is a factor. So let's reverse it. Chandrakant, if you could point out your points, and then Prasanji could come in and point out his points, and then Anurag, why then you can point out what is happening industrial.
Coming back to both, like even Punjab and Kerala, why these states are not able to attract investors? Like why most of the investment are attracted by these other states, neighboring states, but why these states are not able to attract those investment? So I think will of the government or the politics is maybe the one reason. The other reason is the area. Like we see so many violent things happening in Kerala, like political violence happening. And I think somewhere those affect the mind of investors who are going to select a place to invest. They will take those things. Political stability will be one of the reasons which they would consider when they are investing in a particular place. And same goes for Punjab, because since the time when initially it has terrorism problem, then it is a bordering state to our Pakistan, which is not a friendly country. So these factors affect the investment. Like whenever, see, if I am a person who is going to invest some money in some particular region, I need to see that down the line from now, coming to like next 30, 40, 50 years, the place will be stable, the politics will be stable. Then only there will be a regular flow of money to that place for investment. And I think that is the main reason for both these states. And from my point of view, both the states and the governments need to have some kind of rethink over that and plan a strategy